Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our second annual online roundtable discussion. I'm so thankful for everybody that has taken the opportunity to join in with us tonight as we share some updates about our ministry and as we pray together for our mission, including our board, our staff, and our missionaries. So thank each of you for joining with us tonight. For those of you who I have not had the opportunity to meet yet, my name is Chris Ferris. I've been serving as the executive director for the mission since September of 2024. It's been an exciting year and a half. It's been a lot. Certainly am enjoying the opportunity and the mission that I have in front of me. I see some more people joining. Welcome. Just wanted to say a few things. As a mission, we are growing, we are maturing, we are evolving. Certainly, we have seen a lot of changes even just in the last year and a half that I've been here, but I know that those changes started several years ago. We've seen changes at our board level, a new set of bylaws, new processes and procedures for our board as well. And we have 5 new board members in the last 3 years out of 8. So more than half of our board is newer to the board. Again, we've had changes at the staff level. We said goodbye to our donation coordinator, Emily, last year and redistributed those tasks. So thank you for Amanda taking on those donation coordination duties. As well, we've seen some changes at the missionary level, and we've had a few missionaries leave in the last year and a half. And I can provide more information about that, although I don't have that as part of my presentation. But we've had new missionaries join as well, and I am going to be introducing them tonight. And of course, getting to know all of our supporters. That's been a lot over the last year, connecting with different churches and businesses, individuals, foundations, and people that support us financially. The way that I describe our mission, the change that I'm seeing is we are transferring from being a really, really big, small charity to being a really, really small, big charity. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is when you're a small charity, you don't always have the time and resources to focus on policies, procedures, administrative tasks, and things like that. But as you become a big charity, it is essential that you focus on all these things. And we're seeing that over the last year and a half as we improve in so many different areas, including our missionary contracts, which we're going through a process of redoing all of our contracts with our missionaries right now, as well as our uh, international partnerships. We're redoing all of those agreements and other documentation just to make sure that we have a effective and efficient organization. And of course, always with a mind to meeting Canada Revenue Agency's very strict requirements for charities here in Canada. I also like to say that it's no longer enough to do good work. To meet these demands of CRA and the accountability required by our donors, we have to have good paperwork as well. And so we're going through a process of continuing to do great work, but also improving in the area of our paperwork. One highlight for me over the last year has definitely been reading our missionary newsletters and just so many exciting stories of people coming to faith in Christ, people becoming baptized, people being helped through crisis, people being helped in many, many different ways. And each one of our missionaries is capturing these stories and the impact that they're having and sharing these through their newsletters. And it's just so exciting when these newsletters hit my inbox. Another highlight for me over the last year was having the opportunity to go to Mexico in February, where myself and a team of other Canadians visited 5 churches in 5 different rural communities, as well as meeting with our missionaries down there and also evaluating some potential new missionary candidates. And then I was only home for a few days before I left again to go down to Nicaragua on kind of a similar trip, visiting with missionaries down there, including Ramel, who's on our call tonight, and exploring some other opportunities down there, including potential new missionary candidates in Nicaragua. So that was really exciting for me to get away from the day-to-day routine of meetings and emails and phone calls to actually be with our missionaries in the field, doing the frontline works and seeing people come to faith in Christ. So that was really exciting. Just want to shift focus now and share my screen and talk a little bit about our financial results over the last couple of years. So I'm sharing a screen of a website that's maintained by Bloomberg's called Charity Data. And they are just publishing information that's publicly available. So we report our information to Canada Revenue Agency each year. And then Bloomberg is taking that information and doing things like preparing graphs and summarizing the data. But you'll see on this chart, I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit. Hopefully you can see that okay. These are our financial results starting in 2020 for the last 5 years to 2024. And you'll see the trend. The green bar is our revenue. And you'll see that the trend is a decline in revenue steadily over the last 5 years. As well, the red bar beside the green bars, that's the expenses for each year. So ideally, you'd have a taller green bar, which shows that you have a small surplus. But what you can see after 2020, for the last 4 years, we've had a deficit, small deficit, where our expenditures were greater than our revenue, and we had a decline in the amount of funding available. So although that's not great, this is a trend that's very common in churches and charities across Canada that are seeing a decline in revenue, seeing an increase in expenses, and having a very difficult time to have their revenue balance their expenses. One thing that I wanted to share, though, that we're very excited about, we've submitted our results for 2025. I don't see them here on the Bloomberg site, but it is on the CRA website, and we've reversed the trend. So in 2025, our revenue went up and we posted a small surplus. So we're praise God for that, that our revenue is increasing and also that we were able to balance our budget and end the year with a small surplus. So now that we are 8 months into our current fiscal year, the year starting September 1st, and then tracking it up to the end of the most recent month, April 30th. And that 8 month period, our revenue is way up for so many different reasons. And we are so excited about it. It is an answer to prayer. We're seeing our existing missionaries doing quite well with their fundraising. We're seeing new missionaries coming on board and having success with their fundraising efforts. And many, many different people contribute in different ways, including donations directly to the general fund, which has really helped to sustain us. So we've been praying for our daily bread, and we're seeing the proof that God's continuing to provide it. And we're just so thankful. And we praise God for every donor, every donation that comes in, no matter how big, no matter how small. We are just so thankful for everybody that is sacrificially giving to us and continuing to support this ministry. I also have just a really short presentation with a few highlights I wanted to share. So one thing that I just wanted to share with you all, we are really excited about a new partnership that we entered last year with a group in Brazil called MEFIN. It is the Evangelical Missionaries Outreaching to Indigenous Groups in Brazil. And you see some photos here. The gentleman on the right, his name is Pastor João Quadra. And then the gentleman on the left with the feathered headdress, he's a chief among the Kayapo people. His name's Bepantiri. And here you see them baptizing another chief from the Kayapo people and also his wife. And they've been going around and ministering to many, many different groups there, including the Kayapo, where Ruth Thompson started her ministry many, many years ago, but also reaching out to new people groups such as the Taparapi, Tapayuna, Panara, Suya, and many, many others. On the left here, we see a man named Bengo. He is Kayapo. He would have been one of Ruth's disciples growing up. He grew up knowing the Lord. He grew up knowing Jesus. And now he is on a mission to go and take that gospel and spread it to other villages up and down these river systems throughout Brazil. And on the right, we see Ana Paula. She is a university-trained linguist, and she is working on translating the New Testament into the Panara language right now. So we are so thankful that we are able to support those two missionaries, as well as two more, Hoi Hoi and Bepantiri from the first photo. Here's a few photos from a training session that was done for some women from the Kayapo people. And again, I just love getting photos and stories like this and hearing these women are being trained up to then go out to other Kayapo villages and spread the gospel. So we're thankful for this new partnership in Brazil with MEFIN. Another new partnership that we started last year Association Nueva Vida para Mujeres, which translates to New Life for Women. This is a outreach center in Colombia for women leaving sex trafficking trade, being rescued, and giving a safe place to stay. And they're also doing vocational training. One of the things that they're producing there is mops and brooms, and then they sell these products to be able to support themselves as they recover and stay at this center. We have 4 new missionaries that I wanted to just quickly introduce. You can get more information on the website. So just in the interest of time, I'll be very brief, but Don Dalton grew up in BC and more recently was living in Stratford when he decided to go to Mexico. So he's working at a Christian school down in Mexico, and his ministry is through his artwork. You can see one of his pieces there, and he's working with kids all the way up through the grades, right up to grade 12. And he's also running an art club for youth and adults on the weekends. Another new missionary we see here is Domingo. Domingo was born in Guatemala, survived the Civil War there, has been living in Canada for many, many years, but has always had a heart to go back and help the people of Guatemala. So he'll be traveling to Guatemala several times a year. One of the things that he's working on is working on opening up a youth outreach center. One of his concerns that he's highlighted there is just the high suicide rate and the high amount of people living in hopelessness, especially young people, just no opportunities for employment and just really feeling a life of despair. So Domingo has a heart for these people, and he wants to open up this outreach center to be able to help the youth there and provide some better opportunities. Here we see our newest missionaries, the Fong family, James and Fiona, as well as their daughters, Nami and Leah. They're going to be going to Colombia this summer. The intention is to stay there for 12 months. I have a suspicion that they may end up staying a lot longer, but we'll see how that goes. They've committed for the first 12 months to be able to go there, and they have participated on short-term teams to Colombia in the past, so they have several connections down there. They've got an apartment rented, and they're quite excited, and we're continuing to pray for them as they start their fundraising and all the preparations for them to go out and serve in Colombia. And another new missionary family. This again is one of the more recent ones, just in the last couple of months. We see Edwin, Magdalene, and their daughter Briella Quispe. So they are Peruvian. They've been living in BC for many, many years, but they have a heart to go back and serve in Peru. So their intention is to be able to go back later this year with their youngest daughter and serve in many different ways in Peru. So again, for these 4 missionary families, if you have an interest or any more questions, feel free to visit our website for more information. And I should mention that we have several other missionary candidates in the queue. Nothing to share tonight, but maybe at the next meeting we have like this, I'll have more names to share of more families that are joining us. I'm just so encouraged the way that God is providing more people that want to go and serve, both Canadians and people that grew up in Latin America. Big announcement for tonight. I want everybody to hear this first from me. This is new within the last week. I applied for a grant earlier this year, and we just received a check last week for $174,000, 15% of which will stay here in Canada to help with our general expenses. And 85% is going to be sent to a new partner called Joshua Project. So what Joshua Project is doing is they are tracking unreached people groups, people that have never heard the gospel of Jesus Christ, and they are documenting where they live, their language, many different things about their people group, and then they're assigning numbers to it. So we can see here, this is the Panará people, also known as the Creen Carrier in Brazil. They are less than 2% evangelical Christian. This is one of the people groups that we are currently working with through our missionary team in Brazil and bringing the gospel of Jesus Christ to. So the Joshua Project is tracking all of these different people groups. And one thing that they identified was a real need for their resources in Spanish and Portuguese for missionaries coming from Brazil, and also Korean. So those are the top 3 languages that are asking them for more information. So our grant that we were able to secure is going to help translate this website, almost 100,000 different web pages, into Spanish, Portuguese, and Korean. That work will be undertaken over the next year with the intention that many, many more missionaries that speak Spanish, Portuguese, or Korean as their primary language will be able to focus on reaching these unreached people groups. A couple other really quick updates. We launched a new database this year. The database that we had been using, we had for probably about 30 years. It was quite outdated and no longer serving the needs of the mission. So we had a volunteered thousands of hours developing this database completely for free. We launched it last year, and then through a testing phase of several months, decided that it was working well and was meeting the needs of the mission. So we were able to unsubscribe from the more expensive solution that we had previously been using. Also wanted to highlight, we had hoped to do an in-person conference for our missionaries this year. Due to financial constraints, we weren't able to accomplish that, but we did do a half-day online conference on April 13th. It was very well attended, a good time to connect, share together, to learn together, and pray together. Also wanted to mention the last year we've joined the MORE network. Some of you may be familiar. It's the Missionary Opportunities for Resourcing and Equipping. They are focused on preparing for and returning from cross-cultural assignments. And so we are now a member of MORE. We can access their training, and it is definitely something for our new missionaries that we're recommending that they go through the MORE preparation training course. Just last week, we finished off our 2025 annual report. That's available on our website now. We'll be promoting that in our June newsletter. And then just a few things coming up that we're going to be working on. We will be renewing our agreement with Latin Link, our agreement with Mesa Global, and that is all in mind with what I shared earlier about having good paperwork. We need to get that in order with these two partners and just affirm and make sure that it aligns with new Canada Revenue Agency guidance. As well, we're working on a new brochure and we'll be launching that later this year, I'm sure. There's a photo from this online missionary conference that I mentioned. You can see the smiling faces. We had an excellent turnout for that, so it was a nice day together. And I just wanted to share a few upcoming events. This will all be promoted in our newsletter, which I know you're getting, but we're having a barbecue again in Scarborough at our office on July 11th. We're having a soccer tournament again for the Migrant Workers Ministry. That'll be July 26th in Ajax. We're also working on a concert with our very talented Santi Benavides leading the music portion, as well as Craig Cunningham and other musicians in our network. So that'll be October 3rd in Mississauga. And then, of course, our AGM, as well as Christmas party, December 5th in Scarborough. I just have a few photos from those events from last year. Here's our barbecue in Scarborough. We were fortunate enough to have Santi bless us with some music that day. As well, took an opportunity to thank David Phillips, who served as our interim executive director for 2 years, and also our operations director for an additional year after I was hired. And also just another photo from our AGM and Christmas party that we had in December. And I see some people here on the call tonight that were at that. So yeah, what I feel that we're doing with these events is building community as much as we are gathering. Yes. So it's a time not just to come and think about LAM, but time to come and build relationships and friendships and reconnect with families, to support our missionaries that are here on home assignment as well, and have an opportunity for them to connect with staff and board, and time just to be together. So those were the main things that I wanted to share. I know that's a lot of information, but I'm really thankful to have the opportunity to share all that with you. And certainly if anybody has any questions, we can take those at the end of the call. And yeah, we'll go from there. So thank you so much. And I'm going to pass it on to Sue and Amanda to give a bit of an update from our member care department.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Chris. And it is lovely to see you all. And Amanda and I are going to share a little bit about member care. So I have a PowerPoint. Let's see if I can find it. Already gone wrong. There we go. Everybody see that?
Yes, looks great.
Great. Okay, so member care. Now, for some of you, this will be old material that you've heard me say lots of times, so I apologize for that. But for the few of you here who are new to us, you won't have heard this, so we'll just go through it fairly briefly, and you can always ask questions to us at another time. So what is member care? It's a fairly self-explanatory thing, I think. Member care is caring for our members, and our members are, of course, our missionaries who are spread throughout Latin America and a few here in Canada. Our objectives are to promote the well-being of our missionaries through the implementation of a proactive, preventative, holistic, and educational program. And then with the overall goal that our missionaries can be fruitful, effective, resilient, purposeful, loving, and Christ-centered as they seek to fulfill God's call upon their lives. That's a very tall order, but that's our goal. That's what we would love to see, and that's what we work towards. So why do we do this? And I think there's lots of reasons, but these are the three that we kind of boil it down to. Since the 1990s, extensive research has been done based out of the UK, out of the USA, out of Brazil and Argentina. And they all look at missionary life, looking at the preventable attrition rate of missionaries and also at their well-being. And all of them find that it is absolutely important that we have good member care. And that includes good human resource management. And then we add to that our biblical mandate, and it is very clear that we need to care for one another. I think there are 59 one another verses in the Bible, and they all point us to doing this looking after each other thing. So this is our model, which we've sort of adapted from other models. We like this one. I like the tent because I think it helps show that a healthy missionary care comes from several different sources, all working together. So right in the middle, sitting inside the circle there, is the missionary. And we do believe that missionaries themselves need to take an active role in caring for their own spiritual, emotional, relational, and physical health. So then you can see at each corner of the tent, there are different groups of people, all of whom provide different kinds of support. First, family and close friends, who are the people that know and love them the best. And then on another corner, professional care, which is brought in when needed. People like mentors, counselors, coaches, marriage therapists, or other specialists, bank specialists, or whatever, like different kinds of people. And then in another corner, we've got partner organizations. And these are the people that the missionaries work alongside in the field. And finally, sender care. And that includes both the sending church and it includes agency member care support. So the idea is that nobody works alone. We all work together to support and strengthen the missionary. And through it all, we want to keep pointing people back to the ultimate source of strength, wisdom, love, and care. And that is to our sovereign, all-knowing and loving God, who you can see that everybody should point up, hold the tension and point up towards God. So that's the ultimate support system there. So how do we do this? How do we put it into practice? So I don't know if you can see this. It's probably quite small on a screen. But it's three main areas, and these are the things I mentioned at the beginning. So first and most importantly is the relationship that we build and maintain with our missionaries. We walk alongside them. We spend time talking with them, hearing what they're doing, how they're feeling, what challenges they're facing. We pray with them regularly. When needed, we connect them to the specialist support services like counselors or therapists, but we also provide formal and informal debriefing, whether that's after returning to Canada or during field visits or following a difficult or a crisis situation. Another important piece is making sure that every missionary has a mentor. So we provide the mentors that the missionaries select with our guidance and resources so that they feel equipped to support their missionary. Secondly, second circle there, second area is education and opportunities for growth. So as we meet with missionaries and we start to kind of notice common themes and common challenges amongst missionaries, and we decide then based on that what sort of workshops we will offer. So we usually do about 6 workshops a year. And we also host something that we call salas. Sala is the Spanish word for living room. So the idea is that we meet informally and just gather to connect and share experiences, encourage one another, and just talk openly. And along the way, we are, constantly sharing resources of different types. Maybe a retreat, opportunity to go somewhere and learn or rest, or a podcast, or a book, or an article, or something else that might be useful at the right moment. So that's an ongoing thing that we do as well. Then the final section is the human resource section. And this is quite it actually works out to be quite a lot of our time. So we do oversee the selection process for new missionaries. We do their onboarding and their orientation. We just completed a series of orientation sessions in the early part of the year with our new missionaries and our new candidates. And we do contract development as part of that before they go out on the field. And we run annual interviews, which we find to be a really precious time to share with missionaries, hear their sort of reflection on the whole year, how it's been going, what their challenges have been, what their joys have been. And we work on some goals during that time as well, things that they've been able to accomplish and the things that they would like to accomplish. So yeah, then the other parts of that human resource section are things like policy development, which it's a bit of a slow process, if I'm being honest. And yeah, we do help missionaries as well in trying to build their support networks. So now Amanda's going to take over and tell you what we've been doing.
Thanks. Thank you very much. So we've had a really busy last 12 months, which has been wonderful. And these are just some of the things that we've done. But one of the highlights that I personally enjoyed was our stress management workshop, focusing on polyvagal theory, which is just really being able to understand your flight and fight system and how to get your body to calm down, where we can make decisions and not live in our stressful state all the time. We got our children together, our MKs, our missionary kids, or we like to call them ministry kids. We have a lot of national missionaries serving in their own country. And so sometimes they don't even recognize themselves as missionary kids if their parents are pastors. So we just want to include all forms of ministry and care for all those kids. So our ministry kids, we had a sala where we got all the kids together and we talked with them about challenges of being a ministry kid. We broke them into 2 different age groups, worked with the younger kids and the older kids separately. We've had multiple salas and workshops on marriage and ministry. We brought a specialist in, which was really encouraging. We had a great attendance at that as well. And as Sue just mentioned, we onboarded 6 new missionaries, 6 new adults in 4 different missionary family units. And we just completed their orientation sessions, which was actually a lot of fun because it brought us back to our basics. Having been in missions for a really long time, going back to basic, what is missions? What is basic fundraising? The history of LAM. Sue did a wonderful session on the history of LAM, and I actually learned a lot myself. Um, it was really good. We looked at cross-cultural adaptation and the need for member care and spiritual health on the field. And we did that as a group over 5 sessions. And I really felt the group bonded and was able to open up and share their experiences, their questions, their concerns with each other. And I actually found it really, really encouraging. And we are very involved as well in the education aspect, as Sue mentioned. So, one of the things that we went over with all our missionaries was the importance of the annual interview during our online mini conference, and just encouraging them to take the time to reflect well. What God has done, what God is calling them to do, to slow down, give themselves the space to really listen to what God is saying to them. And one of the new things we're really, really excited about is the introduction of our new MK or Ministry Kids annual worksheets. So we want to extend the annual interview and the annual reflection form that the adults do, and we would love to touch base with the kids every year. This is new. This isn't something that we've done before. We have had input and kind of templates that we've borrowed from our mission partners like Latin Link, who've done a lot of work in this area. And we ran a focus group or a brainstorming session with some of our parents to be able to go over those forms and adapt them to our kids in our context. This is just the first page with the instructions. This is for the preteen group, the ages 8 to 13. So we try to make it colorful and engaging. As it goes on, it is long, it's 8 pages, but there's a lot of colors, there's a lot of shapes, a lot of graphics, and they can draw their answers. They can write their answers. It even says in there, you can like write a poem or a song if that's how you want to express yourself. It's really about engaging with them and allowing them to kind of think about how they feel about their past year, whether they're about to go out and move somewhere, whether they're going on home assignment, or they just came back from home assignment, or there's a new change in their life circumstance. We want to touch base with them and make sure that they are having the opportunity to be listened to. So we are going to expand this. It's going to be a lot of work. So we now have the preteen one, ages 8 to 13 done. So now we need to translate it so that we will have it in Spanish as well. A lot of our kids will speak one language or the other, or be more comfortable in this type of creative sphere in a specific language. So we want to make sure that both languages are available. And then we will rework the under eights and then have to translate that one into Spanish. And then we will have the teenagers as well. The teenagers don't need as many graphics and pictures, so there will be a lot more writing and space for them to write. But it is similar questions. We talk about where are you living now and how do you feel about where you live? We talk about what are your friends like? What language do you speak with your friends? What kind of things do you guys do together? We talk about how's school been this year? What are some of the things that have been struggling? What highlights and lowlights of this past year? Are you traveling in the coming year? How do you feel about that traveling? What do you feel about the country you'll be going to? So we really want to give them an opportunity to really say how they feel. Um, and what some of the things that we're looking forward to in the coming year, we have workshops prepared. We have this parenting Q&A set up for later this month. So instead of bringing in an official expert to just speak to us, we're going to set up a panel where people can ask questions. And we're just presenting people with the opportunity to kind of talk to other people who have been in their situations. The people on our panel will be parents who have raised kids on the field. Some of those kids might still be young, some of them might be adult, some of them might have issues with neurodiversity, and we just want our parents to be able to have a safe place to ask questions to other people who've experienced some of these things. We want to organize another MK Sala in this coming year so our kids can get together again. and really maybe build relationships with each other. So we would like to do it often enough that they remember each other, especially the little ones. You need to do it often enough where they're like, oh, you're my friend that I met online who also travels overseas to see their grandparents or something like that. So we would like to do that soon. We have a workshop set up in June on spiritual discernment and decision making, and we're really excited about that. We're bringing in a guest speaker. We have a workshop coming in September on the different types of rest, which Sue is going to lead. And we have new missionaries. So in applications in the process, again, like Chris mentioned, we're not at the point where we can announce them, but we have received applications. So there'll be that interview and approval process, and then onboarding, and then we'll be swinging right back around to orientation again, which we're really excited about. And hopefully there will be more travel for all of us. Sue and Chris and even myself, we did a bit of traveling so far this year and touched base with different missionaries in person. We want that to continue as much as we are able to. And there is nothing that beats an in-person visit on the field. The kind of excitement, speaking from personal experience, that you feel when you have someone coming to visit you that is traveling far just to see you is wonderful. So we hope to be able to do that. And then we come right back around to October, November, December into annual interview season. And we will meet one-on-one with every single missionary or volunteer, and we will go through their self-reflection form and we will ask them how they're doing, how can we help them better. We will listen and we will help them to hopefully look forward as well to what God is saying to them about their lives, about their family, and about their ministry. And we're also continuing with our monthly prayer meeting. If you have received information about that, we meet once a month where we actively encourage our missionaries to come as well. And we celebrate different things or have different focuses and spend time praying. Our last one at the end of April was praying for the two missionary families, the Quispe's and the Fongs, that are about to leave to the field in the next couple months. And so a lot of people came, a lot of missionaries came with a piece of advice or something on their heart to share to kind of encourage them as they prepare to leave. It was a really, really special meeting. And so far we feel encouraged. We feel like the missionaries are feeling the benefit of it. They feel that we are more connected as a mission agency. It feels more like a family when people get together online. They recognize each other. Some of them who are in the same country are connecting a lot more. And we just really want them to continue to feel well supported, not isolated, not alone, and that they always have people that they can trust to reach out to. And we just pray that we can continue to serve God in this way.
Thank you, Miranda.
And thank
So
you as
that's
well, Sue. Yeah, thank you both.
it. Thank you.
So I think that brings us to the end of our formal agenda that we had prepared for tonight. So I'm just going to stop the recording before we transition into our roundtable discussion for any questions or comments that you have, and as well as a time of prayer. So if you're watching this online, the recording, thank you for your support and thank you for joining us tonight.